Welcome back. Well, since a global cyber attack began last Friday infecting tens of thousands of computers, the question on everyone's minds has been who's behind it. And as Ryan Brooks reports, one theory gaining traction right now is North Korea.
The ongoing global cyber attack may have some North Korean fingerprints. The WannaCry ransomware worm spread like wildfire beginning last week, locking down computers unless you pay attackers to get back your data. But on Monday, leading cybersecurity researchers say they've found some familiar code in the virus, seen in alleged attacks by a Lazarus group believed to be a North Korea-run hacking operation. It's the best clue so far as to where the worm may have come from. Reuters' Jeremy Wagstaff reports on what we know about the shadowy figures.
They may not be North Korean, they may not be based in North Korea, but there is evidence, according to these researchers, of links between this group and the North Korean regime. What do they do for North Korea? Well, they allegedly have been behind a number of attacks. They've been behind the attack on Sony Pictures when a movie was stolen and large amounts of data was stolen. They're also believed by some to be behind the SWIFT attacks, Bank Bangladesh and others, where about $80 million was stolen via the SWIFT messaging system.
At its peak last week, the virus hit 9,000 computers per hour. Experts were impressed at how fast it surged around the globe. But the motive behind WannaCry is still unclear, especially since it hasn't made much money.
They've probably made about $60,000 so far in terms of people paying up to have their data decrypted. That sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. Usually ransomware attackers will be talking in millions, maybe tens of millions of dollars for a successful attack. The other thing is that although the malware spread virulently throughout the world, we're not seeing evidence of stock exchanges, utilities, companies, governments collapsing under the weight of this infection.
Microsoft says the attack made use of a hacking tool built by America's NSA that leaked online last month. That's poured fuel on the political fire. On Monday, President Trump's Homeland Security chief tried to distance the agency from blame, saying the tool was never meant to hold data ransom.
Staying on the Korean peninsula, the UN Security Council has hit out at Pyongyang for its fresh round of missile tests, which also poses as the first major challenge for the new South Korean president. For the latest, let's hear from Seoul correspondent Joseph Kim.
Following North Korea's latest ballistic missile test, the United Nations Security Council unanimously condemned the move, warning that they would implement new sanctions. Despite violating UN resolutions, North Korea has continued to test-fire ballistic missiles, with their most recent showing great technical advancements. The rocket launch also serves as a fresh test for South Korea's new President Moon Jae-in, who called North Korea's actions reckless and regrettable, and despite being newly elected, will make his way to Washington to try to resolve the issue.
한미 정상회담과 관련
We have reached a fundamental agreement on holding an early summit between the US and South Korea at the end of June in Washington. And details on itinerary and agendas will be decided furthermore through diplomatic channels.
외교 경로를 통해
North Korea's missile tests may also hinder the possibility of inter-Korean cooperation, which is what Moon Jae-in and his administration have pushed for. Now, South Korea and the United States will work more closely together and seek ways to completely denuclearize North Korea.
Back locally, in response to the latest audit report, criticisms over the regulation of charitable groups or the lack thereof, Home Affairs Chief Lau Kong-wah said these things can't be rushed. At the LegCo Public Accounts Committee meeting, Lau was grilled on how the government plans to tighten the rein on groups they may be making grand profits under the guise of charity. Lau said the government has held 2 interdepartmental meetings after suggestions on the matter were made by the Law Reform Commission in 2013. But he said the 18 government bodies involved make it extremely complex, so results can't be rushed. Some worrying figures out today. A survey has found that almost 1 in 3 primary school students are potentially suicidal, and an even higher number of those in high school. Of about 900 students surveyed, about 31% of primary students and 40% of high school students were assessed as potentially suicidal. The study was conducted by Caritas and the Applied Social Sciences Department at City University. The report suggests boosting students' happiness and their ability to face difficulties. Now, something a little different. Would you get your loved ones' voices inked to your body? Well, a Los Angeles artist creates tattoos made from waveform patterns of audio clips that can be played from a phone. Jane Ross checks out this growing tattoo trend.
This tattoo has a hidden secret.
I love you.
It's the brainchild of tattoo artist Nate Sigurd. He came up with the concept of audible body art after some of his friends requested tattoos of the audio waveform of an Elton John song.
As they were leaving after their appointment, my girlfriend Juliana suggested, wouldn't it be cool if we could play that sound back? And I realized that I could actually make that possible. And so I tattooed Juliana saying I love you and our daughter on my leg.
Soundwave tattoos work with a companion smartphone app. People record or upload a memorable piece of audio and the app generates a waveform image that can be taken to a trained tattoo artist to be permanently inked on the body. After the tattoo is done, a photograph of it is uploaded to the app to be matched to the audio file.
We're using image recognition inside of the app to notice when it's looking at the tattoo, and then it plays the sound of the tattoo back on top of itself.
Sigurd's friend Josh Gallner recently lost his father to cancer.
You absolutely have to believe. And once you have that belief and that desire, you can conquer anything.
He requested a Soundwave tattoo as a permanent reminder of his dad's advice on surviving.
You absolutely have to believe. And once you have that belief and that desire, you can conquer anything.
Sigurd says the app will be ready for release in June 2017 and licensed artists will be operating in locations around the world, bringing a new dimension to tattoos.
Very interesting idea indeed. Well, it's time now for the latest from the world of sports. And starting off with football, Premier League champions Chelsea celebrated an additional triumph, their 29th this season, after a hard-earned victory over Watford. Departing captain John Terry scored his first goal before leading his champs to a rip-roaring 4-3 win over Watford. A big moment for Terry, who is leaving after 22 years with the club. Blues manager Antonio Conte, hailed by a delightful crowd chanting his name, is now pushing his team to try and hit the landmark of 30 wins to complete their Premier League season. And to tennis, Juan Martín del Potro beat 10th seed Grigor Dimitrov in the first round of the Italy Open. The clash was evenly matched in the first set, with Bulgaria's Dimitrov converting a single break point to take the lead. But the Argentine stepped up a gear in the second round by snatching an early double break. The world number 34 won the match 3-6, 6-2, 6-3 in just over 2 hours in Rome. Del Potro will be playing Britain's Kyle Edmund in the second round on Wednesday. Staying with the Italy Open, and world number 1 Andy Murray got a nice surprise from the organisers. Happy birthday to you. He was presented with a cake for his 30th birthday ahead of his first game tomorrow. The Brit, given a bye for the first round, will face home player Fabio Fognini in the second round. Having crashed out of the Madrid Open, beaten by a 20-year-old, no guesses what Murray wished for when he blew out those birthday candles.
Yeah, it was nice. Genuinely, I had no idea that was coming, but yeah, really appreciate it. It's always quite embarrassing, like when all of the attention's on you, but it was yeah, nice that they made the cake and sang me happy birthday, so it's much appreciated.
Even Andy Murray looked elated there. Well, that's it for this edition of ViuTV News. Do join us tomorrow at 7 for all the stories that are shaping your world. I'm Britt Clennett and this is ViuTV News. Do tune in at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Good night.